every episode, but yeah, right now it's Christmas break, so everybody's sort of getting out of finals. I'm back home right now, so we decided to go remote for the podcast. And yeah, with me I have Julian Caballero. He's a sophomore, so I'm like myself. We studies film. He's an English major with a specialization in film, and he does cinematography work. And he just made a short film right now called Babalu. So yeah, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This looks like fun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. I definitely wanted to talk to you about your like sort of how was your process since we're like both relatively new to making like large scale productions, I'd say. Like, how was your
Sure.
experience?
Well, I mean, it was definitely interesting, especially like with COVID and all. With the industry, we definitely had to keep it like, keep the crew small, and definitely everyone had to wear a bunch of hats, and we tried to do the SAG thing to get some SAG actors, but there's just like too many hoops we had to jump through. And it wasn't really like financially plausible to do the whole SAG thing. I'm sure you had to go through
Yeah,
that too.
I can definitely agree with you there. Like, for those who don't know and are watching at home or listening at home, SAG is basically the Screen Actors Guild, which is basically like they're the head honchos of the rules you got to follow. They're like sort of the enforcers, and yeah, there before COVID, there are already a lot of rules, and in order to get like people from SAG, and it's one thing if you like have a film, like with like an entire budget and stuff like that, but being a student film and trying to go through SAG to get actors and stuff, that is was already sort of like a proceeding that you had to do, and it was a lot of paperwork. But now with COVID, it's just especially with that thing that they're practically charging like students in order to get the like get actors tested, which I thought was kind
Yeah.
of insane.
No, yeah, it would have been extremely expensive, and it's just frustrating because they hold like a student film to like the same standard of like a big budget production when it comes to COVID protocol, which is like understandable, but it's just like something that's unachievable for something with such a small budget.
Yeah, I mean like I mean I me being also a person that made a movie and had to go through the exact same like sort of encounters with SAG and everything. It was so difficult to like try because I what I said in my head, I was like at least for the film I did, I was like, well, I had five actors that were going to be recurring on set in close vicinity. So I was like, all right, so five actors. Worst case scenario, they're all from SAG. They all don't have insurance, so that means that you have to pay for their COVID test, and every 48 hours they have to get tested, which is reasonable when you think about it. But also, they and then they say like you're the one making the movie, you're the one with the project, you have to pay for it, and that'll run you down. What was it like? It's like 100 to 150 bucks, something like that, each COVID
Yeah,
test.
it was like 100 something per test, but then it's like if you add that like per actor every 2 days for like a 1 or 2 week shoot, it's like, you know,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
it starts adding up, and especially, I mean, we had like in my film we had no budget. There was
Yeah,
everybody was paying out of pocket for like little trinkets and stuff like that, but there was no real budget. There was $100 for food, and that was it. That was it. And I mean, most student films operate that way. It's not like a rarity. And I mean, I mean, it's what you said. It's like holding student films to such a high standard.
no, yeah, absolutely. It's something we have to work around. It's like that's the whole struggle of the student film is trying to make a movie with such a small budget and like also small crew.
Yeah, I definitely feel. I also wanted to ask you about your project in Babalu. I was able to get a read through it, and I was definitely interested, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
No, yeah, definitely. The whole idea for this script came from I wanted to write something like about my grandpa, and it's not like directly about my grandpa, but my grandfather was like a political prisoner in Cuba, and I know that like he lost like he was never very religious, like he didn't believe in God, and I know that he like lost that while he was in prison, but he was always a very like he still believed in Santeria and like San Lazaro and stuff like that, and was still like a worshiper of that. And I know I wanted to explore how like how someone could like lose their faith in like one religion, but keep it in like another, and just the character in like my script that's like about him like kind of like getting broken down, but then also like kind of like finding a new answer to like what he's looking for.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very, I'd say, it seems very cathartic in your sense, since it's
Yeah.
a sort of a personal story in that regard. And also, you acted as the director of photography, right? The
Yeah,
cinematographer for the project.
I was the DP. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel in regards to, because there is a sense of like what you wrote and it being like a personal story, something that you've had in mind for a while, and
Hmm.
like going from that to getting like somebody else to direct it. Like, how was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I really want to like I was pretty torn apart about whether being the DP to my project or the director, but like DPing has always just like been what's more interesting to me. Like before I did film, I always did photography, and like cameras is just like what I know, and I really wanted to have like visual control of my film. But thankfully, like I was able to get someone that I knew well as like a director, and Naomi, who you know, and
Yeah.
she did a good job, and Sarah, who was my assistant director, also did really well, and they did good together. And I never had an issue where like I felt like I like had to do like everything, like everyone was doing their part, and I like made it a point for myself to try and delegate more, since like I feel like a big issue with like film students is like thinking like we're just going to be able to make like movies, like ourselves, but like that's just not what the industry is. it's
Yeah.
it's like you have to do like your job, and it's like
Yeah. It's